Hello readers and writers, welcome to Massive Book Haul 2. This is the sequel video to Massive Book Haul 1. If you haven't seen already, I'll go ahead and link it up above. But today we have a really cool lineup of awesome books from epic fantasy novels all the way to classics such as the Count of Monte Cristo and manga and graphic novels sprinkled in between. Before we start today's video, I would just like to say thank you guys so much for your continued support. I have a blast making these videos and it really means a lot to me to hear from you guys about what your favorite novels are and what you guys think I should read. So if you recommended me a novel and you see it up here, thank you guys so much. And let's just jump right into this video. First and foremost, let's talk about the massive box that is sitting in front of me. This is Akira by Katsuhiro Otomo. And Akira is one of the most influential, famous, inspirational, mangas to ever exist. Not only is the manga incredible, the anime that they made however many years ago was also highly influential. It's still considered one of the gold standards for anime just across the board. I decided to pick up Akira because I was, reading Berserk, and I think Berserk is one of the greatest stories ever. And I was thinking to myself, if I finish Berserk, I want to have something that can kind of take its place. And that's where Akira kind of found its spot. So this is the 35th anniversary edition hardcover box set. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little spin so you can see it. And then we will go ahead and open it up and then move it aside because it's taking up a lot of space on this table. Let's see which is going to be the best way to do this. So we'll probably open it like this. This box is insane. Let's just go ahead and open this up for you guys. There's like no space. Half the shit's gonna like fall off here. But this is like a special edition box set. It has all of the hardcovers in it. It is beautiful. As you'll see with all these books, I will talk about them, and then I also have the links down below if you wanted to pick them up yourself. So I will, of course, link this, but this is a little over $100. It's fantastic. I would say the build quality on the box itself is kind of okay. I mean, it's got like kind of a nice magnetic closing feature, if you can see that, but the actual books themselves are very high quality. I'll go ahead and pull one out here if I can, and I'll show you just what it kind of looks like. These are hardcovers and fantastic. If you're looking to pick up this series and start reading this story, I definitely highly recommend this box set. It is just wonderful. I really don't have much to complain about it. Like I said, besides maybe just the box just not being super high quality for the price point, but the actual books themselves are fantastic. And for those who don't know, this story is set in kind of a post-apocalyptic dystopian future Tokyo. There's like a massive explosion that leads to World War III, and this story has a lot of cool futuristic shit in it. Superpowers, a fantastic story, very emotional. Like I said, it's extremely influential. So if you are looking for potentially something, if you're reading like Berserk and you're looking for something that can kind of fill its place once you finish it, this isn't the same necessarily in tone as Berserk, but it's going to be a really good story and also be as influential as something like Berserk. So I thought I needed to add this to my reading knowledge. I thought I needed to know about this story. And then once I end up reading it, I'm planning on watching the anime in Blu-ray or whatever is the best quality I can get, because I've never seen it before. I've never read this story. I've just seen bits and pieces of it. A lot of people use them, like clips of the anime in GIFs and things like that online. So I've seen it around, but I am just beyond excited to actually start this myself, find out, what the hype is all about, because I think it's definitely worthy of it. But I will be reading this after I finish Berserk. I mean, pretty much right after. It's going to be the first thing I read. I might as well also, real quick, just show you maybe what the inside of the first book looks like. I don't want to spend too much time on just Akira, so I'm just going to kind of just give you guys a glimpse. There's also, so it's all like black and white, just like, Berserk is. And it's just beautiful. And like I said, these books are very well made, hardcovers. I can go ahead and, I'll just pull out each one and kind of give you guys a glimpse of the covers. Here's book 2. We'll put that there. There's not much room over here, so we got to make some space eventually. Book 3, throw that there. And then we have, wow, there's actually a lot of them in here. We got book 4 there, book 5 here, and book 6, and this is like the biggest one, book 6 there. So if you're looking for an epic manga, check out Akira. And then it even comes with this really cool art book that I've just had like a blast flipping through. Let's see if I can find something cool in here. Oh, that's a very famous shot right there. So it's like colorized art from the manga. Just, maybe my fingers are in the way. Just absolutely stunning. It's, having like an art book like this is like nice as like a little piece maybe to put on a coffee table. I really like it for that reason. And then also just being able to flip through and see a lot of this cool art. I'm trying to find you guys something cool here. That's kind of a cool shot there. Shit. Uh-oh, that was not good. Well, there goes one of my hardcovers. Probably fucked that up. All right, let's see here. I'm trying to find you guys something cool. That's pretty cool there. That's another really cool one right there. Let's hope it focuses. I like that one a lot. There's just some beautiful art. I mean, there's a lot of famous panels that you can probably look up if you want to see more from this story. But the art book is going to collect a lot of it. And I don't really want to go through the whole thing right now, trying to find some pieces of it. But hopefully that gives you a glimpse. I think I lost book 3 when everything fell, or sorry, book 2. So I will have to get up and get that, but I'm gonna go ahead and put all of these back in the box and pretty much say that that does it for Akira. It's, like I said, extremely influential. If you want to pick it up, highly recommend it. And I now have to go get that book. That was not good. Okay, now we got it, and it looks like it's in pretty good condition, so didn't mess anything up too bad there. All right, let's put that in there. Let's close that back up just like that. See how it just kind of snaps shut. It's nice. It's like a little bit of a magnet there. By the way, this thing is heavy, like probably, I don't know, 10, 20 pounds, maybe more than that. Definitely, yeah, I mean, this thing is heavy. So anywho, we're going to put that over there. Definitely more than 10 pounds, I would say. That's heavy. That does it for Akira. Glad we got that out of the way so we can free up some space here. And let's just jump into kind of the polar opposite here. We have a stack of Cormac McCarthy novels. So with this book haul, I just wanted to mention that most of these books that I picked up are kind of continuations of authors' works that I've been reading. Cormac McCarthy being one of them, Patrick Rothfuss being another, Joe Abercrombie. I wanted to pick up more books from them. Ursula Guin, Wizard of Earthsea, wherever that is over here. And I really wanted to just continue to read these authors and explore their bookography, because to me, you can't just get the entire idea of one author just from one book. And so for me, I felt like it was really important, especially with Cormac McCarthy, to read more of his work. I just read Blood Meridian a few months ago. I read The Road a little while back. Absolutely love Cormac McCarthy. So I pretty much had to pick up the rest of his books, even though there are probably maybe a few more than just this. I definitely know that there's No Country for Old Men, but I'm not going to pick that up because I think that the movie is probably better. So I might as well just stick with the movie. I don't think I really need to read the book. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong about that. But essentially what I have here is the Border Trilogy, starting with All the Pretty Horses. Then you go to The Crossing and then Cities of the Plain. And I've heard that each one of these books is written in a different style. So you get 3 different styles from one author, and it's kind of a Western, or it's set in the American West. Not sure if it's a Western or not. I mean, I need to probably look more deeply into the Border Trilogy, but I've just heard that it is phenomenal. And then besides that, we have Suttree. And Suttree just follows like a young man going through life, getting involved with the wrong kinds of people, and some crazy hijinks that come from it. But the Border Trilogy is considered, besides Blood Meridian, maybe like his magnum opus, one of his best works just in general. You should definitely read all of the books in it. I've heard that I think The Crossing is maybe his best book from a lot of people that maybe just like don't like Blood Meridian as his best book. I probably think Blood Meridian is his best book. But the Border Trilogy, if you're looking for another good Cormac McCarthy story, check these 3 books out. Of course, link them down below. Cormac McCarthy, by far and away, is my favorite author. He blew me away with The Road. He wrote in a style, the exact style that I was looking for. His philosophy and meanderings about life are just incredible. Blood Meridian was maybe the greatest novel I've ever read, even though not everything that I read, I fully understood, interpreted, picked up, whatever. You could probably read that book 10 times and still walk away with something new. That's what makes it really good art, in my opinion. But Cormac McCarthy just shot to the stratosphere in terms of how much I liked him as an author after reading The Road. I didn't really know too much about him originally, and then I read that book, and it changed my life. One of my favorite novels of all time, and then he just became my favorite author. So I'm so excited to read the rest of his work. If there's anything that I'm missing that you guys think I absolutely need to read from Cormac McCarthy, please let me know down below. I think this covers most of it. I could be missing 1 or 2 books here and there. I definitely know I am, but at least for like the must reads, it's the Border Trilogy, Suttree. Some people say No Country for Old Men, but I think the movie's already really good. And then, of course, Blood Meridian and The Road. So that should hopefully cover Cormac McCarthy. If you haven't got into his work, please check it out. He's amazing. I'm super excited. I don't know. I'll probably read Suttree first, just because it's a standalone versus jumping into the trilogy. But a thing I just want to mention with all of these books is this is a collection. I buy a lot of these books, even if I don't plan on reading them tomorrow or next week or next month or a year from now. I have like 3 bookshelves in my apartment. I love seeing the books every single day. I love finishing one and just grabbing another off the shelf. So even if I don't read it tomorrow, it's a collection. I love having them here, and it's inspirational as a writer myself. So who knows when I'll get to the Border Trilogy, but definitely Suttree is up there on my list. And I think that covers Cormac McCarthy there. So let's go ahead. Here are all the books stacked. I hope you got a good view of all the covers. We're going to just throw that over here next to Akira. I have like a fat stack over here. So let's just jump into one of the top books over here, Piranesi. This is a novel by Susanna Clarke. I've heard that the prose in this is just insane. Really good prose, but also a really, really damn good story that is mind-bending, crazy. It takes place in like a labyrinth. It's nuts. You should definitely check it out. I don't know much else besides that. I just know it's super strange, very mind-bendy, and kind of wild. And I think that it's just going to be a fun read. It's actually not that big of a book. which is nice because I think you'll just be able to fly through it. I'm pretty sure it's a standalone, like 99% sure. But Susanna Clarke, Piranesi, if you want a mind-bending story, check this out. I see it everywhere. It's the winner of the Women's Prize for Fiction and I guess 2021. I mean, what more do you want from that? I mean, it's up there as one of the best. People say it's going to go down as a classic of this generation as time passes. So Piranesi, if you haven't heard of it before, there you go. Check it out. Super cool cover. Awesome. Now let's go to a classic. Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. It's a classic. I wanted to branch out and read more classic literature that wasn't just fantasy and science fiction. I felt like Dostoevsky was one of the authors to jump into. I don't know if it's a good place to start. I've heard Crime and Punishment is a good place to start for Dostoevsky, but I don't know with classic literature, I don't know if this is like what you want to just jump right into. I know he has another book, Brothers Karamazov, that is potentially more entertaining than Crime and Punishment, but as far as something to just jump straight into, Crime and Punishment was supposedly the better starting point than that book. So that's why I got this. It's going to be a minute before I get to it because I still think I need to work my way up. I have another book down here. I'll just go ahead and talk about it because why not? Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. I think that this is going to be a really good starting place. I mean, look how small of a book that is to just jump into. If you want to read this, you can also find it online. You don't need to get it. This is just kind of like a self-published book. I don't even know where this came from. But essentially, I just like having the stories that I read in physical form, no matter what, because one day I want to hand down these books to someone. So I picked this up in the physical form, even though it's not that great. But Crime and Punishment is like a story about a guy killing people or justifying killing people. And it's very, very philosophical, very deep. I'm butchering the overview of it, but that's just what I've heard from it. I don't want to dive too deep into what it's about because I don't know enough. But if you're interested and you want to read some Dostoevsky, I think that you should start with Crime and Punishment. And Old Man in the Sea is a story about a fisherman trying to catch a marlin after like 80-something days of him not catching anything. It's a story about perseverance, struggle, finding the spirit to continue. And it's pretty good. If you want to jump into Ernest Hemingway, I think that this is one of the best starting points. There are also some other novellas and short stories as well that you could definitely read and potentially get a better feel for Ernest Hemingway, but he is one of the classic authors of literature, one of the best ever. My friend is a huge fan of him. He recommended that I read this, so that's why it's here. But that covers these two. So Crime and Punishment and The Old Man and the Sea. Pick these up. I want to dive more into classic literature. So if you're interested, go ahead and jump into either of those. Let's take a departure and go back to fantasy with an author I bet many of you know very well. We have Joe Abercrombie, and in front of me, we've got Red Country, Best Served Cold, and The Devils. This just came out. I am so excited to read this. I'm currently reading The Fellowship of the Ring for the first time ever. I'm reading The Lord of the Rings for the first time ever. And I think I might read this after I finish The Lord of the Rings. I think that will be what I might jump into. Or I'll read maybe one of these classic books, maybe something smaller, and then just as a palate cleanser, and then jump into The Devils. But you guys, please let me know what you think I should start with Joe Abercrombie. I have the blade itself back here. I once started the blade itself, and I didn't finish it. I hate to say it. It just wasn't the right book at the right time. I think if I revisited it now, I think I might have a better time with it. But back then when I originally read it, it was it was just very slow. And I understand that the character work is amazing. I understand that the humor is great. I loved Glokta as a character. I love Logan Ninefingers, all fantastic stuff. But it was just brutally slow. And it just didn't hook me. I couldn't see where the plot was. I couldn't see where it was going. And now that I kind of know that it's just a giant setup, and also that the audiobooks are amazing. I have to look up the guy's name who does them. I think it's something Perry. But essentially, I've heard that the audiobooks really help out the read. I'm currently reading The Lord of the Rings with the audiobook, so by Andy Serkis, which is like, it's 50-50 on whether or not I really like it. He's fine. He's a good narrator. Can kind of get a little goofy sometimes, especially Tom Bombadil. Ridiculous. But that's another conversation we can have. But I do love the book so far, so that's good news. I'm about like 60% done with it. But Stephen Pacey, oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad I looked that up. It's Stephen Pacey, not Perry. I was completely off with that. But we've got these books here that I think will be really good to read with Stephen Pacey's audiobooks. And I've just heard that it makes it so much more enjoyable. You really get an idea for the character voices. You get the idea for the humor. He just, the narrator really seems to understand what Joe Abercrombie is trying to do. And so I cannot wait to jump into either The Devils to start or the First Law trilogy. Let me know. People said that you can kind of go either way. This is like a very fun, fast-paced version of the First Law trilogy. Like, you get a lot of the great things from that trilogy in this new fantastical world, kind of demonic world. There's like a crazy cast of characters, like a werewolf and a vampire, and they're like doing not necessarily like a heist. They're kind of coming together and they have to like accomplish something. They have to like install some king or whatever else. And so I've just heard that The Devils is awesome. I've also heard that it's a really good starting point, but maybe you should just start with the First Law. A lot of people are like big on reading all of like the First Law books and the Age of Madness and the standalones and everything in publication order. So there's a part of me that does wonder, maybe I should just read the First Law. However, if I'm kind of on the fence and I don't know whether I should read, whether or not I'll like it, because the first book is so slow, the Blade itself, maybe The Devils is the better place to start. So please let me know if you guys are fans of Joe Abercrombie's work and you're fans of The Devils and the First Law and all that. Let me know where you think I should start. That's kind of why I have this channel. I love hearing feedback from you guys and kind of guiding me on my reading journey. And I think that The Devils could be awesome. When I first ordered this, actually, the cover and everything was like quite messed up. So I ended up getting a different copy. And so now it looks quite good. It is such a cool cover. I just would like to point that out. I think that the story is fantastic. A lot of people who have read the First Law say that it's not as good as the First Law because the First Law is one of the best fantasy trilogies ever. So that's another reason why I think I should start with The Devils, because it's like I don't have the idea. I mean, I read probably 80% of the First Law, maybe 70, 80%, and I couldn't finish it. But I still don't have a full idea of how good, the First Law trilogy is. And I should say I read The Blade itself, 70, 80% of that book. So I'm thinking that if I start with this and I really enjoy it, I think it'll probably be amazing to me. And then I read the First Law and then I'm like, oh, this is even better, rather than kind of regression coming backwards, if that makes sense. I might have made that mistake with the Stormlight Archive, starting with The Way of Kings. It's so amazing. And then it's like, now if I read Mistborn, it might be a little bit of a step backwards. So gonna go ahead and show you guys how cool The Devils looks. Let's see, what's the easiest way I can get this thing off. It's like stuck on there. What the hell? I don't want to like tear it. Let's see. Let's open that up there. Boom. All right. So that's the flimsy little dust jacket. But look how beautiful that is for a hardcover. I mean, goodness gracious. I think you can only get the hardcover on Amazon right now. I don't even know if a paperback exists. I've seen some other variations of this novel in different formats. Oh my goodness. Wow. I am glad I opened that up. That is goodness. That is something right there. That is some really good art. And then it's got these like, I don't even know how to describe this, like kind of ruffled pages almost. Just, something about Abercrombie's books with Tor are always just so premium. They just always feel so good. Like the pages has that kind of like, texture, that scratchy kind of texture. It's just so nice. The first Law books are kind of the same. I'll just go ahead and pull this off. It's just got that same texture to them. It's just very premium, thick pages, very nice. But this is the hardcover version. I'll link this down below, of course. And it's amazing. I think there's like the broken binding that also does the Devils in the same kind of hardcover format, but it's just even on another level. So if you're blown away by this, check out some of the others, because some of the other formats, because it's just mind blowing. But I am super, super excited to read The Devils. It's going to probably be one of my favorite books, I hope. I've just heard everything about it. It's great. So I'm just, let's just get into it. Let's just read it, see what happens. I hope I enjoy it, and I hope it gives me the energy to read and finish The Blade itself. Because as many of you know, that didn't go super well the first time I tried. So, but I also was a very young reader back then in terms of my book journey. So I think now I have way more patience and understanding, and just with how many other books I've read since then, I think I'll have a much, much better time. And also kind of having a cheat code with the audiobooks. Let me tell you guys, this is going to be a good tip while I have a little water break here. It's going to be a good tip for you guys. If you're struggling to finish any book, try and find the audiobook. If you have Spotify Premium, it's already, a lot of audiobooks are going to be included within your subscription. And put the audiobook on, turn your speed setting from 1 up to 1.5 all the way. I think my max is usually 1.8, 1.9. That's where it's like, I'm not really following. It's kind of like faster than my reading pace. But for me, at least, the sweet spot is like 1.5 to 1.7. Turn that on, put headphones in, put your phone on your chest, just listen, sit there, read. You'll finish pretty much every single book you start, especially if you have issues with attention, which, sometimes my attention span is not the best. I hate to admit it. Like I've said, those Instagram reels just cook me. But if you are struggling, those audiobooks can really, really help you. Since I found out that kind of cheat code for my own brain, I finished every single book I've started, except for Hyperion, which you guys might not be happy to hear that. But Hyperion, unfortunately, did not work for me. I got about 90 to 100 pages into it, and I couldn't do it. So I switched over to Wizard of Earthsea. So good. Amazing. Just goes to show some books don't work for other people. Some books don't work for everyone, no matter how good people think it is. I think Hyperion is probably a fantastic book. Will I read it eventually? Yes, most likely. Was I in the mood for it after reading, the first Stormlight Archive book? No, it was not the right book for me to read at that time. Wizard of Earthsea was so much better for me. So very happy I did that. But besides all that, back to the main point, the audiobooks will just help you in every single way to get through anything you're really looking for. So yeah, anything you're trying to read, anything you're struggling with, go with the audiobook and read at the same time. It'll help you stay focused, especially if your mind likes to wander like mine does. It always center you, it'll always bring you back to the work no matter where your mind starts going, because you're also listening to it and you're looking at it. So just check that out. Try that. Let me know if it works for you. It was a game changer for me, especially having like this book channel, having to read all these books on like a decent pace. Listening to audiobooks really helped me. So let's wrap up with Joe Abercrombie here with Best Served Cold and Red Country. Then you also have The Heroes, which I think is in the middle of these two. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. I think it's the second one. Or it could be like this. I'm not exactly sure the order. I think they're all standalones technically. So maybe there even is no order. But Red Country, Best Served Cold, I think they're both revenge stories. This is more of a Western, and this is more of like kind of like a gang story, kind of like The Devils, where it's like a group of misfits, getting revenge on someone. So I'm super excited for the Western aspect of this. I'm currently almost done with like the final edits, final revisions, everything on my next novel, which is a fantasy horror Western, or horror fantasy Western, whichever way you want to say it. And I just love getting as much Western inspiration as I can, which, you know what? Might as well just jump into this graphic novel. Ain't No Grave, Scotty Young, Jorge Corona. Western graphic novel with some beautiful art. I picked this up in Salt Lake City at a comic store called Black Cat Comics. My friend recommended I check this out because I'm writing a Western myself. So Ain't No Grave, check it out if you're interested in Westerns. That covers that. Back to these Western, classic revenge, gang misfit story. What more can you want? And then we've got the Heroes in the middle, which is like it just solely focuses on one battle, and kind of like the brutality and also kind of silliness that war can sometimes bring. And so that sits in the middle of these two, or is just another one of the standalones in this series. And I have that on another shelf. That was actually in the first book haul video. If you remember that, I picked it up because I saw a lot of recommendations. Like The Heroes is just such a good war story, blah, 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 blah. Good action, good battle, amazing writing. And then I realized, oh shit, it's a part of these other kind of standalones. So I should probably pick all of them up. So that's what I ended up doing with this haul. Completed the standalones. I still haven't bought The Age of Madness yet. I'm holding off on that until I get hooked with The First Law. Then I plan on reading everything in publication order, even if I do start with The Devils first. So Joe Abercrombie, that's done. Let's go ahead and toss those over. We still have a lot of books to get through, and I have a feeling this video is going to be extremely long, which, for better or for worse, some of you guys really like these long videos, and some of you guys are like, hey, you need to be more concise, you got to be shorter, and who knows what I should do, because sometimes the algorithm likes the short videos, sometimes the algorithm loves the longer videos. My most popular video, I think, is well over an hour long. I think it's the Harry Potter video, which I'll link up there. But I do what feels right, and right now I feel like talking about some books, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. But let's jump into another classic, why don't we? Anna Karenina, Leo Tolstoy. So this is just a classic love story, but very deep, very symbolic, lots of philosophy, and just a fantastic story. Again, I'm not going to give a super long synopsis overview. I've just heard that Anna Karenina is one of these stories that you have to read, especially from Tolstoy. So pick that up. It's a Penguin Classics. This is the Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition. I just ordered it. I did not really look at what I was getting, but I ended up getting this, and it has some nice crinkled pages there too. So fantastic. Anna Karenina. Cannot wait. Adding it to the TBR, adding it to the shelf. Let me know how soon I should read this. I've just heard a lot of great stuff about it. So, Tolstoy, again, one of the greatest authors ever. Might as well read that. Now, let's jump over here. Watership Down, Richard Adams. Watership Down. A story about rabbits. Not kidding. This is actually a story that follows rabbits. In our world, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if there's any fantasy with this. I know they're humans, and it's like following rabbits as they leave like one warren and go to another. And they have to like fight off predators and survive, and then humans are thrown into the mix. Supposedly, Watership Down is another classic that I have to read. Picked it up. Again, guys, this is going to be like a classic type of video where I didn't want to just blow the bank on more science fiction and fantasy novels. I actually wanted to pick up some other stuff that would potentially expand my reading knowledge and whatever else, and some authors and stories that I might not necessarily read on my own. I went down countless lists on Reddit. I went down countless videos on YouTube. I searched on Goodreads. I read reviews. I looked up a lot of stuff to kind of curate this haul. Even though it's going to take me years to read all of these, I still wanted them in my collection so that if I do finish a fantasy book, pull it off. Watership Down, East of Eden, John Steinbeck. And I just want, I needed some more classics. I needed some other stuff. And a lot of people say you need to read Watership Down. It changed people's lives. So Watership Down, Richard Adams, check it out if you want a story about rabbits. It kind of reminds me of like those Warriors books, which is like a terrible comparison, but it had like the cats as like the characters. This has rabbits, like actual, like literal animal rabbits. I mean, that I don't know what else to say about Watership Down. I really don't know much about this book. I just know that it covers rabbits. It's about goddamn rabbits. I need to like look more into it, but everyone says you got to read Watership Down. So why not? We'll give it a shot. We'll read Watership Down. East of Eden, crazy book to jump to. John Steinbeck, classic American story, classic American literature. It follows a family, I think 2 families in California, and it follows like their lineage, going through different generations, their family story. I think it's a parallel to the classic Christian story of Cain and Abel, biblical story. East of Eden, another classic that you need to check out. Add it to your list. I've only heard amazing things about it. And check that out. More crinkled pages. Let's go. That's what we want to see. So East of Eden, again, is just a must read. Check it out. Don't know too terribly much outside of that overview, but if you want another great classic to add to your TBR, East of Eden, I think it's another one of those life-changing must-read books that isn't fantasy or science fiction, which is what I'm really trying to kind of get away from and trying to expand my reading knowledge, my reading taste with a lot of these classics. So East of Eden, there you go. Not a classic, but I think a decent book. Looking for Alaska, YA, not necessarily a love story, but kind of maybe like a little bit of a journey story. It's pretty short. I was recommended to read this. Looking for Alaska, John Green. I think there's a bad movie that was made about it. It's not comparable to what I just talked about with East of Eden. I think it's a pretty good book, though. I just wanted it in the collection. I wanted to read it just to break up, again, all the fantasy and everything else. So, Looking for Alaska. If you've read it, let me know what you think. If you've read any of these books, please let me know. Let's add that to the TBR. Looking for Alaska. John Green, author of The Fault in Our Stars. Fantastic book. But again, these are all like kind of, his writing is like more YA. But they always have like good messages, very emotional, very touching. Just thought it was a good thing. And again, not only is this collection for myself, it could also be a collection for future children of mine, or future family members of mine, or future friends of mine. Like, who knows? I don't know who will read all these books one day besides me, but they're not just for me. I'm thinking also just in the future, hey, if I have someone in my life that I want to share books with, I don't want to just have purely the exact books that I think I'll like, I also need to like keep in mind, oh, maybe someone else might like this. Maybe I might like it. Win-win. Let's add it to the collection. So that's why that's there. Let's see what we still have left. We've got a few more classics over here. Then we have some author stacks here. So let's do an author stack. Then let's go back to some more standalones. Finish off with this author stack. We've got to talk about this graphic novel. We've got Berserk down here, which you guys have heard a lot about already. But let's go ahead and do Patrick Rothfuss, this author stack. So Patrick Rothfuss quickly became top 3 for me. You know, some of my favorite authors are Cormac, McCarthy, Stephen King, Ursula K. Le Guin, Patrick Rothfuss, like just to name them off the top of my head. I loved The Name of the Wind, which is back here. Let's go ahead and pull it out. I use this as an example with my Kindle video, which I'll link that up there. This was one of my favorite books ever to read, period. One of my favorite reading experiences. Not only was this beautiful paperback, just a joy to read and hold and whatever else, obviously this story just struck a chord in my brain and just, it hit different. It's really what I have to say about it. The Name of the Wind hit different. Maybe more different than any other book could ever hit. And I don't know why. And I've heard so many bad things about The Name of the Wind, especially since I read it. You know, so many people, oh shit, I need to turn these around. So many people have given up on Patrick Rothfuss because he's slow to write the third book. Some people believe we might never get the third book in the King Killer Chronicle. And therefore, you shouldn't even read it. That's what people say. And to them I say, nah, you should read it. You should absolutely read it. Because, and I hope these different sizes don't bother anyone. You can't really get them all the same size. But you should read it because The Name of the Wind is a really good book just to read on its own. You don't even need to read the sequel, The Wise Man's Fear. Even though I've heard that this is really good, some people say that this is already the best. So for The Wise Man's Fear, you can read it and you'll probably have a really good time with it, or it might even kind of leave a sour taste in your mouth and you might be turned off from like Patrick Rothfuss and his writing in general. And then from there, you don't really have anywhere to go besides these 2 books. One of them being The Narrow Road Between Desires and The Slow Regard for Silent Things. Both of these books are novellas. Don't get it twisted. They're short stories. They are not sequels. They're not in the King Killer Chronicle trilogy. I've read stories of people buying the first 2 books and being like, oh my God, there's 2 more. And then they buy them and then it shows up and it's this small. They're novellas. One of them follows, his companion, Bast. Let's check which one it is. I think it might be, let's see. I think it might be, where is it? It's this one. I was right. This one follows Bast in some adventure he goes on. And then this follows Ari in the Underthing, which is like the area underneath like the academy, like where he goes to school. And the university is what it was called. So both of these don't even follow Quoth, in all honesty. They follow 2 different characters entirely. This, though, does. And look how thick that book is. This is a gigantic book. Gigantic. I thought this was a big book already, and it is. But this is something. This is a freaking meaty book right there. This follows Quoth in the continuation of the King Killer Chronicle trilogy or duology, because the third book might never come out, but these are entirely different. Regardless, why did I pick them up? Because I love Patrick Rothfuss's writing. I love it. I think he's a great author. I think he's fantastic. I don't know where the third book is. No one knows. He might not even know where it is. If I ever get to meet him one day, I won't ask him because I'm an author myself, and it's kind of a disrespectful thing to do. Even though, hey, I never want to make my fans wait that long ever. I'm kind of like a book a year kind of guy, maybe 2 even, especially this year. So I don't know where the third book is. I don't know if the third book will ever come out. And the truth is, it might never come out. So be it. So be it. This is a fantastic book, and I've heard this is a pretty damn good book too. Maybe like a little bit of a step down. Some people think it's even better. I don't know. Regardless, you read Patrick Rothfuss mostly for the prose, and then you read it for quoth. So who knows if I'll even like, reading about these side characters. But regardless, I've heard the prose is amazing. And that's what I'm reading it for. That is what I'm reading it for. The prose. I want to develop my prose as a writer. And the prose, Patrick Rothfuss's prose is stellar. Maybe one of the greatest, cases of incredible prose out there. And it rivals like Ursula K. Le Guin, in my opinion. It's that good. It just feels like flowing water. It's just easy. It's smooth. And when I read The Name of the Wind, I don't want to say it changed my life, but it definitely changed the books I read, like or plan to read in the future. That's what it changed. It changed what I seeked out. It changed what I wanted to read. So in a way, it did change my life, even though I think the story is good. I don't think the story is anything insane. I think the world building is pretty amazing. I think the world itself feels very lived in and real. But the story and the journey to the university and all that stuff, it's amazing, but it's not the Lord of the Rings, But it wasn't about that. It wasn't about the story. And so I picked up The Wise Man's Fear, not even as like I really want to see where this story is going, because you already know that it's not going anywhere. There should be a third book here, but there's not. And that's a problem for some people. Is it a problem for me? No, not in the slightest. Forget about it. Not in the slightest. It's because it's not what I'm going into it for. I'm not going into it to see the end of Quoth's journey. I don't really care. I don't really care what happens to him in the end because it's not about that. And so I think that a lot of people go into The Name of the Wind and they get so hooked and enthralled by this story. And good for them. I'm happy for them. And I think that is that's great. You're going to have a good time. You're going to be happy. But you're going to eventually be disappointed. And so I'm happy, at least for me, that it didn't go that way. That there is more to it. That just the writing, it's like witnessing greatness. It's like if you could watch one game of like Michael Jordan playing, in the NBA Finals, but you don't get to see if he wins the whole thing. Are you happy that you just saw that one game? Or would you just say, oh, well, no, I'm just going to never watch him. I don't even want to go to that game. I don't want to see it because I don't know whether or not he wins the whole thing. That's, in my opinion, how it sounds when people are like, I don't even want to start The Name of the Wind because I don't know how it's going to end. It's like you're witnessing greatness in any form. And luckily you get 2 pieces of greatness along with 2 novellas. So yeah, I'm going to stand up for him. I'm going to defend it. I'm going to say you need to read it. It's a must read in my opinion. It's a classic of fantasy. I think it will be one day if it's not already. Even if you don't get that ending that a lot of people so desperately seek. So it's just more so, are you willing to jump into a series that is unfinished, like A Song of Ice and Fire, and you never see that ending that you really want. I think it's worth it. And that's why I ended up getting anything that I could from him. I got all the books that he had. I don't know if there's anything else out there. You guys can let me know, but this is pretty much all I found, and I'm happy. And I'm going to read these, and I'm probably going to read these as palate cleansers in between big series, in between the classics and whatever else. I'm saving this. I have no rush to get to this. The plan for The Wise Man's Fear is to read it when I am just completely and utterly burned out from anything else and everything else. Like, I want to be in the worst reading slump of my life where I'm like, I don't even want to read anything else. I don't want to make YouTube videos. I don't want to write nothing. And then enter The Wise Man's Fear. That is what I want to use this book as. And if you love The Name of the Wind, maybe you should do that too. I really think that people dive into The Wise Man's Fear so quickly after finishing The Name of the Wind that they end up burning themselves out. They don't read The Narrow Road Between Desires. They don't read The Slow Regard of Silent Things. They don't read anything like that. They just jump straight into The Wise Man's Fear. They don't read anything else. Just dive right in. And then they get burnt out. And then they're jaded because they want to keep going. They're hooked. They're addicted. And then there's nothing there. So my tip to you all, if you want to get into Patrick Rothfuss's work, you want to read The Kingkiller Chronicle, take it slow. Take it piece by piece by piece. Enjoy it. Try and find something from each one that you can take away and look at them as almost standalones. Don't look at it as a trilogy. Especially don't hold out hope that that third book will come out. If it did, Patrick Rothfuss is going to be like a billionaire overnight. He's going to make so much money. It would be like the most highly anticipated novel ever outside of, The Winds of Winter, the second to last Song of Ice and Fire book. It would be huge. It would be monumental. But will that ever happen? No, I don't think so. I don't know. I just hear me out for a second. And I know you guys have been hearing me out for an hour now, but as a writer myself, not saying that I can understand where he's coming from or why he does certain things or whatever else, but as a writer myself, I can't understand how it could take that long to finish a book or even write one or do anything like that. It's confusing. It's strange. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can be such a successful and famous and well-known and well-respected writer and author and public figure and blah, 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 and not do your job. So no shade to him. None. I'm not trying to be antagonistic here. I'm just confused. I think everyone's confused. That being said, I still love his work. I still love The Kingkiller Chronicle. I still love Patrick Rothfuss as an author, even though he hasn't finished it. It's just I don't understand where that third book is. And it's frustrating, but also I've kind of accepted it. You have to accept it. You kind of have to understand that that book's never coming. With how much time has passed, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I think that you could still put out a 50,000 word book that is like just a little bit bigger than this or something and call it a third book and be done. Like, then it's done. Like, you could get something out. I don't know where it is. So the point is, don't hold your breath. It's confusing. It makes no sense. No one knows where it is. And in my mind, it's never coming out. And all right, that's his choice, So be it. But for the rest of us who want to read his work, take it piece by piece and enjoy it for what it is. And never expect that third book. But I am beyond excited to read these novellas, and then probably my most anticipated book outside of like The Devils or something, or Malazan, because The Name of the Wind was just so damn good. Okay, that does Patrick Rothfuss, The Wise Man's Fear, the novellas. It's pretty much it for him. That's that author stack taken care of. Let's go ahead and throw this back up there. Let's get another quick sip of water. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Classic. Mark Twain. Classic. Journey up or down the Mississippi River. I don't know which direction, but it's on the Mississippi River. It follows a young boy named Huck going down the Mississippi River on a journey. And it's an adventure. Again, I can't give you guys like these deep, in-depth summaries and synopses and all that stuff. I don't want to butcher it, but I'm just going to give you just a basic overview, and that's pretty much it. Classic. You got to read it. You got to read it. So if you're looking for a classic of American literature, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. It's a lot of good life lessons, got a lot of good philosophy, and just overall a damn good story. Next up, The Hobbit. This is the prelude to The Lord of the Rings. I don't know if it's necessarily required reading before you read The Lord of the Rings, but I think that it's most likely necessary. Like, you should probably read it. I had already read it before I started The Lord of the Rings a long time ago, and I saw those like kind of bad movies as well. So it's kind of, I don't think I needed to read it again. I think reading it again before starting The Lord of the Rings would have been good, but regardless, it's a story that follows Bilbo Baggins before the events of The Lord of the Rings, and it is a journey story, you know, reclaiming treasure from, you know, the dragon smog or whatever. And it's just so good. A lot of people read this when they were younger. That's what I did. Believe it or not. It's classic. I had to add it to the collection. As far as also adding the Silmarillion, which I think is the proper way to say that. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Silmarillion supposedly is not as easy to read and can be more like biblical and just is kind of just like a lore dump, which is what it is. But I didn't pick it up because I didn't think I needed it. I think after I finish The Lord of the Rings, if I want it, I'll do it. Like maybe the next Massive Book Haul 3, I could pick it up. But just for now, The Hobbit is what I went with. I think that for my collection, if I ever tell anyone, hey, check out The Lord of the Rings, you know, if I ever have a kid and I'm just like, I want you to read The Lord of the Rings, but you got to start with The Hobbit first. I need to have this. Boom. There you go. Have fun. I think that if anyone wants to read The Lord of the Rings, they should probably read The Hobbit first. It's going to get you into Tolkien's writing. It's going to get you into how he tells his stories, and it's going to set you up really nicely for The Lord of the Rings. It just flows perfectly in. Amazing lore, amazing world building, amazing story. If you haven't already, check out The Hobbit. Not much else needs to be said. I just picked this up. Even though I've already read it, I picked it up for the collection. And I think it's something that you need if you plan on giving The Lord of the Rings to someone you want to tack this on. They should read this first. So that does The Hobbit. Let's save this for a little bit later. Let's go through these two classics. Or let's go one by one. Heart of Darkness, Joseph Conrad. I think this story takes place Congo River, maybe. There's like a guy trying to find an ivory dealer. Again, completely butchering it. This is a classic of classics. I was just told I needed to read The Heart of Darkness. So again, I don't know like too terribly much about all of these novels. I think that's like the point. You read it to find out. But I've just heard, and if you want to read this, you know, if you want to add this to your TBR, go for it. I just heard it's a classic. That's why I picked it up. Heart of Darkness, Joseph Conrad. Perfect. Done. Next up, The Spear Cuts Through Water, Simone Jimenez. I've heard that this prose in this the prose in this novel is just stellar, just fantastic, wonderful. Some of the best prose out there. If you're looking for good prose, The Spear Cuts Through Water. As for the story, I don't know. I don't know how good the story is. I don't even really know what the story is about. But I do know that everyone recommends this when they say, do you want good prose in your whatever you want to read next? Check out The Spear Cuts Through Water. I think that that's going to be a really good option for you. Okay. Put that there. Plato, 5 dialogues. 5 dialogues. Socrates is like the main character of this, and lots of philosophy, lots of good stuff in there. I heard that this is like one of the pillars for kind of like Western civilization, Western literature, all that kind of stuff. Plato, 5 dialogues. Check it out. Super short. Collects them all in this one book. I'll link below. Check it out. Dungeon Crawler Carl. Hardcover. Matt Dinneman, I believe. Matt Dinneman. Dungeon Crawler Carl. Say that 5 times fast. I think that this is kind of based on more of like a video game style of book. Like it's a pretty long series, if I'm correct. It's like cozy fantasy. It's a comfort read. It's a good palate cleanser. It looks pretty easy to read, pretty easy to enjoy. It's blowing up on Reddit. It's blowing up on YouTube, BookTube, all that stuff. It's big. Matt Dinneman, congratulations, man. I think that he just got picked up for some type of adaptation. Like Seth MacFarlane wants to do an adaptation of this. So good for you, man. Like, congrats. I think he's selling a shit ton of these. I think this started out as a self-published book, if I'm correct. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But now it is published through Ace. And this hardcover is freaking sweet. Nice. It looks like a super fun series. It looks like a super fun book. Everyone just says it's awesome. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It's a good time. It's cozy fantasy if you're trying to get someone into fantasy and all that kind of stuff. Maybe there's a little sci-fi sprinkled in there. I'm not exactly sure. Dungeon Crawler Carl. My buddy Trey told me to pick this up. Trey Talks Comics on Instagram. He said that this is must read. Daniel Green on YouTube, he also said this was really good too. So why not? Dungeon Crawler Carl. Perfect. And the last classic we have here, the Count of Monte Cristo. Alexandre Dumas. Wow, this book is huge. What the absolute hell is this? I mean, look how big this book is. Penguin Classics, The Count of Monte Cristo. A man is falsely imprisoned. He finds out about a treasure. He goes and finds it after he, I think, escapes from prison. I am so freaking excited to read this. This kind of gives me Don Quixote vibes. So it's like just such a massive book. It's going to be an epic. It's going to be a freaking journey. It's going to be a haul. But it's one of those that I am so excited for. As far as the classics go, we've got Anna Karenina, East of Eden in this stack. But The Count of Monte Cristo, for me, is going to be the one that I want to read as soon as possible. So we'll see what happens. Let's hope I get to it sooner than later. I think I will. I think that I'll read a couple smaller books, finish The Lord of the Rings, obviously, read a few smaller books, read a couple palate cleansers. But as far as like a classic I want to get to sooner than later, top of my TBR, The Count of Monte Cristo, Alexandre Dumas. So yeah, just keep in mind, I don't think I understood how freaking big this book was. So it says the epic tale of wrongful imprisonment, adventure, and revenge in its definitive translation. Crazy. I'm super excited to read The Count of Monte Cristo. Just keep in mind, it is freaking huge. So it's going to take me a little bit to read this. I'm not the fastest reader. So yeah, Count of Monte Cristo, check it out if you want a classic. Last author stack, then we'll speed run through these. We'll be out of here. If you are still watching, thank you so much for sticking around. This has been super fun. I've really enjoyed this. So let's go ahead. Let's move that there. Let's go ahead and talk about the Earthsea series. Boom, boom, boom. I honestly don't know. So this is number 2, The Tombs of Atuin, Ursula K. Le Guin, for those who do not know. Then we have The Farthest Shore, book 3. Then we have That's Not Book 4. That's Not Book 4. Tahanu. I'm going to just guess Tahanu. That is book 4. Put that over there. Let's stack these guys up there. Book 5, Tales from Earthsea. And book 6, The Other Wind. Ursula K. Le Guin. Let's just... This is going to be a disaster to stack them, but let's just do that just to help out. But yeah, like Earthsea has been my favorite fantasy series I've read in a minute. I loved A Wizard of Earthsea, and I will never get over how good that book was. I have another video. If you want to check it out, I'll put it up there. A Wizard of Earthsea was one of my favorite fantasy books ever. I described it as the most comforting book I have ever read. Easy 10 out of 10 for me. So Ursula K. Le Guin carried on from A Wizard of Earthsea into the rest of these books. This finishes that series. I think it's like the Earthsea series or the Earthsea cycle, something like that. But essentially, it starts with A Wizard of Earthsea, and it was one of the greatest entries to any series I've ever read, and it was just so freaking good. So I had to pick up the rest of the books, even though I don't know when I'm going to finish the whole series. The A Wizard of Earthsea is also just such a good standalone. You can read it by itself. Go for it. It's amazing. But I'm going to also read these as palate cleansers in between some of the crazier stuff, maybe some horror books, maybe some classics. After the Count of Monte Cristo, I might want to just pick up, one of these tiny books. So they're super easy to read. They're so fun. Ursula K. Le Guin is such a good author. She's just fantastic. The books are amazing. The world building's so good. But above all else, just like Patrick Rothfuss, the prose is fantastic. Like the reason why you read these books, the prose, but the story, in my opinion, blows The Name of the Wind out of the water. No pun intended, but it's so good. It is so good. The prose is amazing. So if you are interested in amazing prose and you want to dive into just a classic good fantasy story that inspired, things such as Harry Potter or The Name of the Wind. I think that it was inspired by A Wizard of Earthsea with all like the namings of things and whatever else. So, yeah, check it out. I just picked up the rest of the Earthsea books. So that's what this stack is. And if you think I should read other Ursula K. Le Guin novels, please let me know. Those will appear in Massive Book Haul 3. But I just need to get through more books before I just like get either everything by an author or get other fantasy books. Like that's why this had more classics in it and like less sci-fi and less fantasy and all this other stuff. Like I need to read more stuff. Like, for instance, I'm looking at over there, like The Prince of Thorns, Mark Lawrence, and it's like I could just get all of his books, but I need to read that first book first. So the next massive book haul will have more things from different authors, like Steven Erikson, for instance. Like, I want to read Malazan and then pick up the other like spin-off novels and tie-ins and all that stuff. So I needed to at least get the rest of the Earthsea books just immediately, because they're going to be palate cleansers. I'm just going to pull them off the shelf, read them when I feel like it. But I had to pick these up, and I cannot wait to finish or continue with this and finish the Earthsea series. So the world of Earthsea is what they kind of describe it as, but it's just something about these books are just fantastic. Ursula K. Le Guin was on a different level while writing these. And if you want classic good fantasy with amazing prose, check it out. Okay. Let's see here. The Fellspyre Chronicles, book 1. There's a lot of different authors, a lot of different names that I would absolutely butcher. So I'm just going to let you guys figure that one out. This is like a classic fantasy graphic novel style. Like, not that it's a classic, but it's just a classic fantasy story kind of thing. Absolutely. I don't even know how good you can see that. Really freaking cool art. Let's see if I can find okay, just look at that. Really cool art, really classic. My friend said that you should read this book because it's kind of a standalone. I didn't have to read anything else. I didn't want to pick up any, Trey, my friend, he recommended this. You don't have to read anything else after reading this first book. So it's just, you can just go for it and then have a good story and carry on with your life. So that was the goal with picking up the Fellspyre. Let me know if you got the Fellspyre Chronicles. Let me know if you guys have read this before. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of all these stories. But just a good graphic novel I wanted to add to the collection and read when I got bored, and also when I finished Berserk, because I'm still not done with it. I'm on the 6th book now. So I'm getting through like the ones that I picked up in the last book haul. That's why I went ahead and picked these up, because I'm just like one away from getting started on these. So let's go ahead and open these bad boys up, starting with number 8. Talk about Berserk for a little bit. No spoilers. After the Golden Age arc, it's been fun. It's been good. The art has not wavered at all. Every time I open up one of these deluxe editions, I truly am just immediately reminded of how good the art is. The art is just on another level. Kentaro Miura, that is the author, the creator, the artist behind this art. And let's just see if I can find just a panel. Hopefully first thing. Boom. Like, what? Like, hand drawn. One guy. Like, what on earth? I mean, I'm literally just picking random parts. I'm just flipping through this book, and the art is just mind-blowing. I'm not trying to find anything crazy, guys. I'm not trying to, show you handpick only the best panels. I am literally just flipping through. I'm trying to find one of Guts, actually, because in my opinion, hands down, Guts is probably the cool. Oh, I just found something sick. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll just go with that. There's way, way better stuff, but that's pretty cool. I don't want to, give you guys any crazy spoilers here, but it's just the art that's pretty good too. These are all very chill panels of Guts. In reality, you rarely ever get anything that chill with Guts. It's usually always pretty mind-blowing, in my opinion. You always get these crazy action sequences. He's slicing a motherfucker in half or whatever. I'm really trying to find one of those scenes. Oh my goodness. Like, oh. All right, we're good. Like, look at that. Like the stars, freaking beautiful. Let's see if I can find, ooh, is that anything? I mean, it's cool art, but I'm trying to find something of like Guts, just a classic signature pose, like where he's, you know, cutting someone in half. You just see him with his gigantic sword, and I think it's like the Dragon Slayer. I think that's what it's called. It's just so good. I'm not seeing anything crazy in this right here. I'm also trying not to like spoil myself. Like, okay, that's kind of crazy. I guess you could take that. I don't know what that's all about, but let me just hold that there. That's pretty crazy. Essentially though, oh, now that's sick right down there with the freaking rain. So if you are looking for some of the greatest art and story combined in any medium, Berserk is going to have it. Mura was just in his bag when he was creating this. It's seriously mind-blowing to even comprehend how one human came up with this stuff, let alone drew it and like created this like incredible, crazy, mind-bending, dark, fucked up story, but beautiful at the same time. It's just insane. If you want something dark, go for it. Read Berserk. The beginning can be a little bit slow if you don't know what you're getting into. Like the Golden Age art can kind of be like, this isn't like what I was really expecting from Berserk. Like this is kind of, you know, I thought like, Berserk was like, you know, cutting monsters in half and all this stuff. And like there's a little bit of that in there, but it's kind of more politics and like friendship, you know, relationships, and like it's very much a slow build. And the demonic stuff and the dark stuff, it comes later, in my opinion. And then especially with the eclipse, the end of the Golden Age arc. And so I will say, though, oh my gosh, look at this first freaking thing I just opened. Okay, yeah, no, okay, that's good. So, you know, I will say this, though, about Berserk. And I don't know if this is going to be controversial or not, but the Golden Age arc sets such a good standard for a story. It's so damn good that it's almost hard to top. I've been enjoying the rest, and you guys can help me with this. Like, let me know like what the other, you know, good arcs are in Berserk. Like, what else is out there? I need a little water break. But let me know the other good arcs that I should be looking forward to, and like what books they come in and when I should expect to get to them and things like that. But there's something about the Golden Age that just, it's almost like it was impossible to top. It's almost like it was impossible to beat. Like how could anything be better than the Golden Age? So let me know if anything does top it. But it's almost like, not saying that I'm disappointed with what's coming after it. Like it's all great, amazing art. It's the story's fine. But the story has not been on the level of the Golden Age. It's definitely taken kind of like it's kind of decreased in my enjoyment. It's very funky. I'm kind of like in the Lost Children arc, like all that stuff. And it's fine. The art's cool, but it's just not the freaking Golden Age. It's not the Eclipse. Like that kind of shit just blew my mind. So let me know if there's more stuff like that. That's what I really want to get to, and I think there is. I probably sound like an idiot because it's like obviously there is, like, duh, like that's just kind of like that's what you're gonna come to expect with this story. But I just haven't found that yet. Sadly, I don't know when it's coming, and I don't want to say Berserk is losing my interest, but it is taking me a little bit longer than I expected because I thought the Eclipse was just going to hook me and I would just race through. But it has been a bit of like, I'm kind of having to like force myself through this. So it is what it is. Not saying that Berserk is bad, not saying I don't like it or anything. It is kind of, it has felt, God damn, I can't get these things right. It has just felt like kind of a step down. if that makes sense. So yeah, I hope it comes back up. I think it will. I think it will eventually be really entertaining again, but right now it's kind of just a little meh. But it's still, the art is still fantastic. The story is still pretty good. I need it to get back to that level. And maybe it never gets back to that, or maybe it exceeds it. Who knows? Please let me know down below. But if you are looking for incredible story, incredible characters, if you're looking for a badass protagonist in the form of guts and combined with amazing artwork, and then if you listen to like, you know, meditating with guts on YouTube and like you read it, like it just, if you're looking for a dark world, it just, it itches that part of my brain that like literally nothing else does. It's so good. I don't even like to just say like, oh, it's an amazing manga. Like, no, it's one of the greatest pieces of art ever created. And the fact that Miura was, to the best of my knowledge, was doing this entirely alone, hand drawing this, coming up with a story, writing it. How is that even possible? Like, I don't even think I had an appreciation for that before, but now it's just like, how is one human capable of that? So anyways, rest in peace, Kentaro Miura. I mean, we lost a great one. You know, it's really a shame. I don't know how it's going to end. And people say that like the last chapter that came out was kind of an ending for this story. And I think that's deluxe edition 14. So yeah, guys, we're kind of not saying that I've gotten there yet. I still have the 7th one to get through and then all these, but it's like the next book haul might be the last haul that I'm buying these deluxe editions. So yeah, it's kind of sad. I think that there is going to be like one more part that comes out to kind of finish it up based on his notes and where he said the story was going and everything. But he definitely kind of died right in the mid, like not in the middle of the story, but like at a, you know, important part where it's like we might never really see his true vision, and it's just such a shame. So rest in peace, Kentaro Miura. It's a shame. He's one of the greats for sure. Maybe the greatest of all time in the manga space. So that's that. Let's hope it ends up being a good ending. But if not, I'm just glad he got to see his story exist in some capacity. And that last chapter is like kind of a pseudo ending, and it could work. But Berserk, what else can I say? One of the greatest stories of all time. And trust me, a proper video breaking it all down and talking about it and reviewing it will come once I finish the whole thing. But I think I'm just going to kind of wait till that last chapter comes out to do that. Who knows when it is? Maybe you guys can let me know about that. But that pretty much does it. That's it with the book haul. Massive book haul 2. Again, these are, in my opinion, like collector's items. Like, I'm collecting a lot of this stuff. I plan on reading it in due time, hopefully sooner than later, but you know, who knows when I'll actually get to all this. But in reality, a lot of it is just for the collection to start, and then like it could take months, it could take days, months, years to read all of this stuff. But I love having it in my apartment. I want to have it in my home one day. I want to have a huge bookshelf, all this stuff on display. And as a writer myself, it just really helps to just constantly see these things and be reminded of it. And if I want to just take a look at someone's prose, I can just pull it off the shelf. If I want to see some cool art, I can just open this up, and it's just awesome. So I highly, highly recommend, whether or not you're buying them brand new or you're collecting them used, going to a bookstore or Goodwill or wherever else you're going, you know, you can find some fantastic books. You don't have to buy them brand new. You can get them anywhere. People might even give you books. But I highly recommend building out a book collection, because when you're surrounded by books, it's a really, really fun and cool feeling. And I love it. There are a few things on earth that I love more than books, if anything. So I'm just excited to keep going with my reading journey. And I really just thank you guys all. It is not possible to do this without you guys, without your support, without you guys tuning in and watching these videos every time they come out. So truly, this is like, I'm thanking you guys. This is because of you. So thank you guys for allowing me to do these videos. Thank you for the support on the first book haul video. If you guys have any questions about any of the books I talked about, if you have any more recommendations, whatever you want me to pick up next, if you have any thoughts on the books where like you want to just tell me something, like maybe like what I was saying about Berserk, drop it all down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys. That's probably my favorite thing about this channel, is being able to talk and communicate with you guys and having that direct line from me straight to you guys where you can reach me, you can talk to me. I've got my email on my Instagram. I'll link my Instagram down below. If you want to shoot me an email, talk about books anytime, I'm available, and I'm happy to do it because I love it. You know, this is my life. This is a part of my job. And it's just truly a blessing to be able to have this avenue where I can talk about this with you guys and then also hear back from you guys. So please let me know any thoughts about the video, any thoughts about the books, and can't wait to hear from you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.